Protecting and organizing your cards is an ongoing challenge for all sorts of collectors. So today, I'm going to be talking about all the essential things that you need, as well as other helpful items that you can purchase to help you in that goal. How's it going, everyone? It is Joe from Silphco Consultancy, and today we're going to be talking about how we can protect and organize our cards with various different things. I have over a decade of experience. I've tried pretty much every product out there. I have my own preferences and have found versatile uses for all sorts of these different things. So make sure to stick around. I'm sure even veterans can pick up some quirky tips from using certain objects in strange ways to really get the most out of them. First off, we'll start with the bread and butter, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. The penny sleeve is pretty much golden for players and collectors alike. You're going to simply open up your booster packs when you find holographic cards, reverse holos, any card that you find valuable. Go ahead, protect it in a penny sleeve. This is the first line of defense. It's going to help you out of surface scratches. It's going to stop, dust and stuff getting to the card in general. And this is usually the first thing that's going to help protect your card. Of course, if you are looking to play the trading card game, you can't actually use penny sleeves. You need to use opaque sleeves, and there's tons of different directions for players. I'm not going to go into my personal preferences, but there are different solutions out there for you. I would suggest searching different things, different brands, things like Dragon Shield, Ultra Pro, that sort of thing, whether you prefer matte or non-matte sleeves, glossy sleeves, stuff like that. The only real thing to bear in mind is that you have to use either official Pokemon sleeves or any opaque sleeve with no design going on in the back. It has to be a clear block color. So those are really the only things to bear in mind. Also, if you are just building decks casually, you may want to protect your sleeves. There's all sorts of old gen sleeves where you may not have spares lying around. So instead you can use oversleeves to protect while you are shuffling. And if anything breaks, it's going to be the oversleeve and not the actual good looking or ancient sleeve that you've held onto all this time. Also, of course, there's the undersleeve option. This is the opposite of the oversleeve, where you're actually more so worried about the cards within the original sleeves, where you'll put them in smaller sleeves to give them that extra little bit of protection. Gets them a bit more sturdy as well, so if you're going through shuffling, they're going to be a lot safer, stop them from bending and getting creases. Jumping back to the collecting train then, there's the top loader. This is also pretty much just an essential item, especially if you are looking to send cards through the mail. I do think this is one of the best ways you can protect these cards. Oftentimes you will see it in bubble mailers and stuff like that, or even just regular envelopes, maybe with some paper shoved in there as well. And you have the top loader. Oftentimes for lower value cards, you will see that all the time. And these rigid top loaders just gives a bit more sturdiness to the thing, and it means that it's not going to, it can bump around in the case, but it's not going to move very far, and it's going to stay where it is for the most part and protect it. Now, if you're someone who's interested in grading cards, I actually suggest semi-rigids as a better option to top loaders. The grading companies themselves actually prefer semi-rigids because the way that they release the cards to start looking them for grading, they oftentimes use scalpels to actually cut out the semi-rigid plastic, and top loaders are more difficult for them to sort of release, and it could actually cause them to damage your card if they're getting them in and out of top loaders. Even with things like pulley tags and that sort of thing, semi-rigids are their preferred option. So I do think if you are looking to grade and start amassing a grading pile, semi-rigids are going to be vital for you guys. The real downside of a semi-rigid is, again, you'd want to use top loaders if you are posting them. These semi-rigids are just kind of too flimsy unless you are going to wedge them between two pieces of cardboard and send it that way. So if you are looking to send cards around, I still think you should pick up those top loaders. Having binders is also pretty much the bread and butter, especially for collectors. It's a great way for you to show off some of your favorite cards and store them in different ways. I typically suggest getting side loading binders, because then if you sleeve the card initially from top to bottom, you can then side load those pages, and it means that no gaps of air are showing, so you're getting rid of all the dust from actually getting to scratch the surface of the card or anything like that. So I really do suggest those. I also suggest moving away from 3-ring binders. It's something that was all the rage a few years ago, but many people have strayed away because if not stored properly, or if the binder is to fall or something like that, you can sometimes get binder indents on your card from the 3 rings themselves, like in the center sort of thing, and that's something you really want to avoid. It's a way that you can damage your cards. So typically I stick to albums rather than binders. It can be a little bit easier to sort of move things around when you're using 3-ring binders, and obviously when you can add to your binder, that can really be an easier path than having to buy multiple of different things and have gaps in your binders. But really, I think it's the best route for protecting your cards. Binders can also be useful for players, of course. It can be an easy way for you to display things on different pages. Oftentimes you can see things sorted by archetype or just type coverage in general. Also, you can see all sorts of binders that are for trading options as well, of course, that you can put straight into your backpack and just have around for events for trades. So it's not exclusive to collectors that I would suggest picking up binders. Specifically for those players out there, 4 and 12 pocket binders I also think can be fantastic for you guys because they, are the play sets that you need. So you can literally, from a glance, see what cards you're missing and what cards you need to fill out if you are looking to get play sets of certain things, whether it's supporter cards, trainer cards, or some V and V Max Pokemon and alike. This could be a really nice way to present that sort of information for you. And when things go astray, you can immediately see just from something missing from the row that you borrowed it to a friend or you're using it in some of these sorts of decks, and you can amass them straight back into the binder quite easily. Now let's start talking about mass card storage. I'm talking about those of you who have just got that bug, got to scratch that itch of opening booster packs. Oftentimes I use things like shoeboxes as large cardboard storage containers for Pokemon cards. It's cheap, it's easy, but it's a great way that you can store these things. The one thing I will say about the shoeboxes is that sometimes you need to cut out more cardboard to make breaks in the things between the rows so they don't just sort of intertwine and mash together, because that again can damage the card. You may even have to make little ceilings for them. It can get a whole thing, but it is the budget option. Another alternative is, of course, just go out and buy some cardboard storage that is specifically made for trading cards. They can be self-assembled, easily comes in the post as flat packed. You can assemble it yourself in a few minutes, and they come with the perfect rows and stuff like that for you to organize. And from that point on, you just need to have page breaks in different spots. You can use things from elite trainer boxes and alike to give yourself those gaps. Also things like deck boxes that you can grab. You can go ahead and use them to sort of break up between sets or between Pokemon and trainer cards, however you want to organize your sort of cards. I do think that's a fantastic option. At the same time, they're oftentimes wide enough to use top loaders in there as well, so they can become, again, natural page breaks for you, or they can also be a way to organize your top loaded cards. Just a small step down from that is the option of having elite trainer boxes or trainer toolkits to help store your cards as well. I think these are also very well sized products. ETBs, if you use the lids and flip them the other way over, you can actually fit top loaders in that compartment, which I think is very handy to easily flick through those sorts of cards. And the bottom section obviously can house sleeved cards. It can also house deck boxes, and that's often something that I think is really valuable for a player, because you can easily fit in something like 2 decks as well as your dice bag and dice. Simply slam that baby shut, and it's an easy thing that you can just slip straight into the bag, bring out whenever you need to, and give the sturdiness to protect your actual deck box itself and obviously the cards within. At the same time, the ETB oftentimes comes with page breakers, which again can really help out if you have mass storage going on and you want to separate your sets. And even for playability wise, you could separate things within ETBs of Pokemon, trainers, supporters, tool cards, special energy stadiums, that sort of thing. I actually have a number of ETBs sort of left open, and I just scour through, separated my Pokemon supporters, all that sort of stuff. And I find it a really easy way to look through my playable cards and assemble decks. Once again, looking to the player's side then, deck boxes are a fantastic option, of course. This is going to be something that you can easily put a 60-card deck straight into, but it doesn't stop there. I actually do also suggest these for collectors. Oftentimes, if I'm starting to assemble complete sets and I'm about, 10% of the way there, 30% of the way there, whatever, I can start putting my sleeved cards from that set into a deck box and keep it well stored in one safe place until I accumulate the additional cards rather than putting them straight into a binder. Otherwise, you can also put them straight into the binder and just have those gaps all over the place. But I much prefer having a binder completed when I start filling it out, rather than having that sad, gappy place all over the pages if I've just, opened a couple boosters. A playmat is also something you'll always see players using. It's a great way to protect your sleeves from getting all scratched up, and ultimately gives them more longevity. It's also just easier to play off of a playmat. It's easier to pick up the cards, move them around, and what have you. It's a strange thing to say, but it actually is a really nice quality of life thing that you can pick up if you play a lot of games of Pokemon. At the same time, I actually really like having a playmat, even if I'm just opening booster packs. Again, it's just protecting these cards that little bit more, making sure the sleeves don't get scuffs or anything like that. It's just that extra layer of protection, and pretty much all the pack openers at this point are using playmats of some description. So I really do think it can be a helpful addition, even for the collectors. For those old format players, I also really do suggest 4 compartment style boxes. I think these are a fantastic way to get, 4 decks all into one row. I use these all the time for my Worlds collection, and I also think it's a great way if you are harping back to a year or an era of Pokemon and you can get 4 decks. I think that's a good number for people to start playing around with and really take a screenshot and capture the essence of that era of Pokemon. Of course, if you are looking to get any of these accessories that I mentioned, you can go over to cardmarket.com and check out their options on there. They pretty much have everything from binders, sleeves, pocket pages, portfolios, albums, all that sort of stuff. They can certainly help you out. Thanks so much today. Hope you did learn something a little bit about my preferences, as well as what I believe to be the core essentials for the accessories to help you grow and establish your collection, keep it all organized, and most importantly, protect all of your cards. Thanks so much for watching. I have been Joe from Cardmarket, and I will see you in another video soon. Cheers.